The late 80s was marked by action cinema, Rambo, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Commando, and those action heroes made their impression on the arcades. Of course, in 1987, that culminated with Contra, Konami's classic shooter, which borrowed heavily from those action stars. Well, everyone tried to jump in to that boat, and one of them was Capcom, who took clear inspiration from Contra, molded it with R Type, and created a game that has become largely forgot. That's right, today on One Quarter Game Reviews, we're diving in to Capcom's Forgotten Worlds, the shoot 'em up where you take on the role of one of two heroes to rid the world of these bio alien invaders. And so, you know how we do on One Quarter Game Reviews. We have 1 quarter to check out this game and determine if it's worth continuing to put our hard earned money into. So, let's head on over to the arcade, take a look at this forgotten classic. All right, here we go. Booting up the arcade machine. Let's take a look at that intro. Little track mode action with our two heroes. Not what I expected. Here we have a clear shoot 'em up with our floating guys that really look like they came straight out of Contra, right? Nice little blob or something, whatever that thing is. All right, well, let's quarter up and take a look at this. Okay, this is the full cross. Pretty fun so far. Gotta pay attention. Try to adjust the volume there. Oh, okay, a shop so we can buy stuff instead of getting no idea what any of this says. It's got 5,000 points. Guess let's buy this one. All right, I have no idea. Definitely got to collect those things because that's apparently how we get our power-ups is oh no. Well, that was our 1 quarter. We had our opportunities, but did not quite make it. There's looks like the boss at the end, at least the end of the first level. Okay, so that was Capcom's Forgotten Worlds. Now it's time to dive into our review. And as we do with every 1 quarter game review, we're going to rate this graphics, sound, gameplay, story, and then overall. and we're looking at it on a scale of 1 to 5. So let's start with the graphics. Right away, this game was released in 1988, so we are expecting decent graphics, but not off the charts. And I think this one really comes through. The sprites look good, the enemy sprites look good, the environment looks good. Looks like we had 3 layers of parallaxing as I was looking at that. You know, you had the space in the background, you had a midground, and of course that foreground that you were playing in. So love that effect. Really, popularized by that 16-bit era before they started pushing the boundaries to give us more foreground and many layers in the background. So always good to see the multi-layer parallaxing. So overall, I think it looks good. It's obvious that the main characters were ripped off of Contra. I mean, they almost look identical to the way the Contra characters looked. So I got to take off a little bit for that. But overall, really enjoy it. The graphics themselves. So I'm going to give this one 3.6 on the graphics. It's not knock your socks off, but it's definitely better than average. So 3.6 on the graphics. On sound, I think once again, we have some great sound. It was a great soundtrack. The effects were good. So there was constantly noise going on, whether that was the enemies attacking us or projectiles smashing into objects in the level itself. The music was not uh, detracting. I thought it added to the gameplay itself. Would love to continue to hear other tracks. So I'm very intrigued by the music. So I'm going to give that music a 3.3. So as we move into gameplay, this is another interesting one. Gameplay wise, there's not a lot here. It's your typical shoot 'em up. They add, rather take away the in-game power-ups in exchange for that blue money, whatever that was, so that you could take that money and then spend it in stores, which means you have to save up, you have to get all those things, you have to find the stores when they appear so that you can go in there and go shopping. Not the greatest from a gameplay perspective. It's I want to be fed these as I'm going, so I'm not leaving the action, taking a pause. I suppose it adds to your ability to customize your loadouts a little more, but other games have achieved that by allowing you to shoot the power up to change it between different ones to get the power up you're looking for. I think that's a much more natural mechanism that doesn't take the player out of the experience, which this shop does. The shop just doesn't seem natural for this type of game. So taking all that into consideration, it's I'm gonna give this a 2.9 to 3 flat, somewhere in there. Uh, Fun, I enjoyed it, but nothing that's gonna stand out as memorable. And again, the store really detracts from the flow of the game. So let's talk about story. I think story here is fairly obvious. Aliens have invaded. They've destroyed the earth. You could see the rubble in the buildings, the destruction all around. And obviously, we got that lead in with that evil, demonic, I don't know, space god, whatever it was. Looked to be inspired somewhat by Egyptian mythology, but very interesting. Then you got attacked by space frogs or something. So very very obvious what's going on. I'm not sure why our heroes can fly around with no obvious jetpack or anything. So I don't know if we're supposed to be heroes or you know adventure heroes or sorry, action heroes, or if we're super soldiers. I don't know what is going on from that perspective, but the main story is pretty obvious. Aliens invaded, destroyed the earth. We got to fight them off. So for that, I think it's a classic tale. It's one we all love. So I'm going to go 3.7 on the story. So as we look back at overall this game, would I play more of this? Would I put more quarters in? And I gotta say, I think I would. I enjoyed it. If this was in the arcade near me and I had options to play this or a few other games, I think this one is one that seems a lot of fun to me. Seems I'm interested in seeing how those boss fights go. You could see that big gelatinous blob in the background. I'm interested in getting to that thing and seeing what that's like and moving on to the next stage and seeing what those new levels look like. Eventually, do you move into some alien spacecraft or are you always on Earth? What does it look like? So I'm intrigued. So I am saying this one is worth spending some more quarters on to get a closer look at this game. So overall, I'm going to give it a 3.8. I think this is much better than average. It is intriguing. It's something I want to dive into further. I don't think it's ever going to become a classic. It's not something that I'm going to necessarily look back on as like, oh man, that's one of the greats. But it's intriguing. I want to play through this game. I want to see more of it. I want to get better as you do with these shooters, right? And so I'm intrigued. I'm going to put more quarters. In fact, I'm going to go play some more of this right now. So while I'm doing that, it would be awesome if you would drop a comment below. Let me know what you thought of Forgotten Worlds. Have you played this before? I believe it's available on a few Capcom collections. It was released on some computers like the Amiga and the ZX Spectrum and a few others at the time. I believe it was also released on TurboGrafx 16 and even the Sega Genesis, but it's not one I ever got to experience. No arcade near me actually had this game. So for me, it was super intriguing to get a chance to take a look. So let me know your thoughts. Made it to the end, so you might as well hit that like button for me because it really does help the channel. And don't forget to subscribe, ring the bell for notification for more one quarter game reviews. And until next time, have fun.